Hey everyone, welcome back to Life in Pixels. Thanks for joining me for another speed build. Today I'm going to be continuing my series reimagining the lots from the Sims Bustin Out with Toane's gym. So in the original Bustin Out game, brother and sister Max and Goldie Toane were the owners of this gym, and they actually lived in the gym because all of the lots in Bustin' Out were residential lots. There were no such things as community lots in that game. So Sims did come and visit this place and use it like as a gym, but you also lived there. So the room in the upper left hand corner was originally blank when you first started the game, and that was so that you could use it as a bedroom, and it had like a full kitchen. And I wanted to make it an actual community lot so that it could be an actual gym. So I reconfigured some of that stuff, which we will get to in a little bit. So a little information about Max and Goldie, that if y'all have never played the game, they were supposed to be brother and sister. But funny thing is, in the Bustin' Out games, there were no such things as like family relationships. So you know how like in The Sims 4, if you have a family relationship, they won't perform romantic interactions with each other. Well, Max and Goldie often would perform romantic interactions with one another, since there was no such thing as like family designations. And I'm pretty sure when I was younger that I thought they were a married couple, because when Bustin' Out was around and I was playing it, I was probably like a early teenager, like a preteen, and I recently booted up my old PS2. I still have a copy of Bustin' Out, and I still have my original memory card for the PS2, which thankfully had my save on there where I'd completed the entire game. Like, I maxed out all the careers, unlocked all the locations and everything, which was really handy because I went through and went to all the different lots in the game so that I could take screenshots and use them for references when I decided that I wanted to do this building series, because there's not a lot of really good reference images like on Google, because back when Bustin' Out originally was around, there wasn't screen capturing or anything like that. So there's really just not a lot of screenshots that exist, especially of the lots that weren't like the first couple. The first couple most people are more familiar with, but once you got a little further into the game, there's really not a lot of reference material that I could find. So anyway, I booted up the game, and I noticed that I had given Max and Goldie a double bed, and then there was also a single bed in that bedroom, which I'm assuming is where my player character slept. And so I assumed that they were married when I was a kid, because they often were like super flirty with each other. And then when I was doing a little bit of research, and I saw like on the Sims wiki that yeah, Max and Goldie were supposed to be brother and sister, but that in most people's games they did often perform romantic interactions with each other because of not having family ties. And that was really kind of funny, but you know, you do you. And anyway, so I had a lot of fun doing this build. I think I probably say that about every single one of these that I've done. I'm always like, oh my god, I had so much fun doing this one. And I'm not just saying that. Like, each time that I do one, it's super fun. Not only because like of the nostalgia factor, which I mean, that's a big part of it. Like, the nostalgia bomb is real, y'all. I've mentioned this before. This was probably my favorite Sims game for a really long time. So there's that nostalgia factor, but also it's really been pushing me outside of my comfort zone. And I mean, for, you know, those of y'all that have been playing The Sims for like a long time, you know how, I don't know, a lot of people that I know that play the game, like, you get really into it and you play for like days or weeks or maybe even a few months straight, and then it just kind of gets a little bit boring, and so then maybe you quit for a while and then you don't go like come back to it until like maybe a new pack comes out or something. So that's kind of how I play. Like, I've played off and on for years. I'll go really hardcore for a few months, and then I'll take a break for a few months and then come back to it. And so this has really been pushing me to do stuff that I wouldn't normally do. So that's been keeping the game like really fresh and exciting. I've certainly never built a community. Well, no, that's not true. I've built community lots before, only a couple though, but I've certainly never built a gym. And the couple community lots that I've built previously, I mean, not that great, like in my opinion. I just have a really hard time conceptualizing like what the community lot is supposed to look like. Because, I mean, now that I think about it, I don't pay like that much attention in real life to how, you know, these community lots, like what does their architecture look like both inside and outside, and like what are the needed items that not only you would see as a guest, but like maybe that you would see as a worker there. And then plus we have to make it so it works for the Sims and that they have enough space to get to everything and they have what they need, and there's like the different lot requirements and stuff. So it's always seemed really intimidating to go out and build a community lot. So I usually just play with what's there or that somebody else has created. Shout out to little Simsy and her Simsy save. Love all of her lots. I love how she goes and updates like all the community lots with the new items. So that's been really helpful. So I've just never really, you know, built much of my own. But anyway, first time building a gym, and naively when I first was thinking about this and I drew like a little sketch out of like roughly what I wanted to do, and I was like, oh, this, you know, it's not going to be that difficult because it's a residential lot. I'm not going to have to put in like a lot of clutter, so it should go fairly simple, and like it's kind of a boxy shape, like it's not going to be a big deal. I should be able to knock this out in a couple hours. Y'all, who was I kidding? Like, why was I trying to kid myself like that? It really ended up only taking me about 3.5, 4 hours, which is actually a lot quicker than I thought it was going to once I started getting into the thick of it, because the shape and everything was really easy to get down. But then when I was trying to do arranging of all of the pieces, that's when I started having like a really challenging time, because I didn't have really a good reference for scale. Like, I built enough houses to where, you know, I can pretty much know what the scale is going to be. Like, I do make adjustments after I put down the furniture, you know, as needed. But as far as scale for a gym, I really had no clue what I was getting myself into. And those darn weight machines that you can see there that are in this like weird back-to-back configuration, I know it looks kind of funky, and if I was just building this from like total scratch and didn't have any sort of reference to go off of, I definitely wouldn't arrange them like that, because I moved those suckers around I don't even know how many times. I cut a lot of that footage out of me just like moving them here and there because that was just ridiculous. But that was a very like key focal point, I think, for the Bustin' Out version of their gym. They were arranged like that. There wasn't a ton of gym equipment in there, and there's still not a ton of gym equipment in this gym, because one of the main features was the indoor swimming pool and the hot tub, and then they had these weight machines back to back, and they had a rock climbing wall, and I think there was only like one treadmill. So I did add a couple more treadmills, and I did end up using 2 rock climbing machines, and like I rearranged those a little bit from what the original configuration was. But those darn weight machines just threw me. They seem to be like in the way. It just looks so weird. And I do end up changing those out for a different weight machine. I think the ones that came with, I don't remember if it was Fitness Stuff or Spa Day. Y'all, I use so many items from Fitness Stuff and Spa Day that I have never used before, because like I said, I've never built a gym, I've never built a spa, so I haven't had really much of a need to use those items, because a lot of them really aren't like house friendly. So I don't know, but I had fun exploring those new items, but those weight machines, they just gave me fits. So as I mentioned, the original lot in Bustin' Out was a residential lot. So up in the upper left hand corner where I have the, what are they called? Saunas? Yeah, the sauna items. That was supposed to be a bedroom. Well, it was really blank when you first started out the level of being in their house, but that was the most logical place to put a bed because you needed a bedroom. So I'd kind of always assumed that like Max and Goldie, the characters that own the gym, were also living in the gym, and the room next to them that I have the bar in, that was like a full-fledged kitchen. And So I was maybe thinking that they were first like starting out with their gym, and that, you know, they were also living on site because they couldn't afford to have like a residence and the gym. That was just kind of a little bit of an extra, you know, story. And then when I was reimagining what their gym would maybe look like in an updated version, I was thinking maybe this is, you know, a couple years out and they've managed to be more successful in their gym. Their gym is doing well, they're making money, and they're able to move out. And so now there's not a bedroom in there. There's not a full-fledged kitchen, because that would be kind of weird to have a full-fledged kitchen in a bedroom in your gym, running as a community lot in The Sims 4. So I went ahead and used the sauna, because most of the gyms don't have saunas, since that's something that came with spa day. And I rarely ever send my Sims to the spa. I probably should more. They deserve a little bit of pampering. But anyway, I thought that would be a fun thing to put in there, since I don't ever use that item that much. And then the kitchen I kind of turned into a little bit of a juice bar area. There's a bar in there, the one that came from spa day, and we can just pretend that's for your like protein shakes and stuff. And then I added a couple of little not vending machines. They're like the refrigerators that look like they have like Powerade and stuff in them, that also came from spa day. And we'll see that a little bit more when I go in to decorate. So I mentioned this in my previous builds. I usually go down and I put in all of the big furniture items first, like the big main components that I want, so that I can get like an idea of scale, which was really important for me in this build, especially like I talked about. And then I go in and I decorate. So as y'all can see, there was a whole bunch of stuff like in the front of the build, outside, just chilling in the front. And that's because I went through the build catalog and I pulled out a lot of decor items now that I have all of the main stuff down, that I thought I might wanted to use, so I can go in and do all the fine like little detailing. As you can see right now, I'm kind of messing with the doors that are in the locker room. Like one door goes into the shower room and one door goes into the restroom. I split those up. They were kind of split up like in the original build, but they were kind of weird. So I just went ahead and made like one restroom and one shower room that comes out of the locker room. And you also enter through the sauna from the locker room. I did make all those areas gender neutral, because I just didn't want to have to worry about making like a bunch of different rooms by separating out the sauna between male and female and the restroom and the shower room. Plus, I mean, it's The Sims. They don't really like care. It's not a big deal, and you know, whatever. It's just pixelated people. So if that bugs you and you want it separate, I mean, feel free to throw up a wall in the middle and designate like male and female. But for the purpose of this, all of those areas are gender neutral. They were gender neutral in the original build. Like, nothing was separated by male and female in the original Sims builds, so I don't think it was a big deal. Now I'm going through and I'm like fine-tuning the stuff. I end up changing out these treadmills for some slightly nicer ones, and like I said, I changed out the weight machines. I just put down the cheapy ones so that I could get an idea of the scale, like I said. And I think, I just noticed I ended up spacing out those treadmills a little bit more than I originally had, but it's okay. I play tested everything, so they still work, even the one that's like up next to the fence of like the little rock climbing area. So that's all good. It still works. And I think these weight machines, I think one of the problems I had was not only did they look like they were in the way, but they just looked weird, like all back to back. I don't know. It looked really funky. I just couldn't, like, I don't know, grasp the way that they looked. So when I changed them to these weight machines, I thought it looked a lot better. They were more solid, and it doesn't just look like some equipment all shoved up next to each other. Like, the backs made it look a little bit different. So anyway, that's just me rambling about weight machines, which that's not interesting. I got to use the diving board. The diving platform, we don't actually have a diving board, which, why don't we have a diving board? I mean, I know we didn't even have pools when The Sims 4 first came out. Like, it took a while for us to even get swimming pools, like, patched in later. But then we didn't have the diving board, which was, like, a super classic Sims item, and that was what was originally at the pool, was a diving board. But I am thankful that we have this diving platform that I was able to use, so we can kind of get the same, you know, feel of what the original build was going for. And decorating this place, I think, was also like a little bit of a challenge, because I was like, what do you do for decor in a community lot? But I don't want to leave things plain either, and I do clutter like way too much in my builds. Probably, I don't know, I like them to look lived in, and y'all, in real life I'm got probably too much clutter too, if we are being honest. But I don't know, I just like little things that make the place look lived in and real. And so I was like, what can I put in a gym that makes it really look, I don't know, I don't want to say cluttered, but more realistic. But you know what, I wouldn't even know that either, because I have never been to a gym in real life. I've never seen the point. Work out at home. I don't want to be around a lot of other people. Like, I'm too shy for that. But anyway, I digress. That's my own personal insecurity. But anyway, so it was a little bit challenging to try to figure out what I wanted to use. So I did use a lot of the items from Spa Day, and then I used a lot of those letter signs, as you can see from Dine Out, and I think Open for Business had some, and I don't know, I think Spa Day came with a couple of things. There were probably a couple other packs, but anyway, I know a lot of them were from Dine Out and Open for Business, so they're really probably supposed to be signs for like businesses or restaurants, but they just look like Simlish letters. So I put a lot of those around. I was thinking maybe there were signs letting people know, like, this is the locker room, this is the restroom, this is like the smoothie bar. Just have a little something extra on the walls. And I don't know how realistic it is to have like all of this stuff in the spa or like in the locker room. Like, there's toiletries out, there's towels out, stuff like that. But you know, again, it's The Sims, like cutesy little clutter items just to give it a little something extra. And I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. Like, I think it really came together in the end, even though I was struggling. Like, once I got my stride and kind of got the scaling of everything right, then it really kind of came together pretty easily after that. And hopefully it's like a place that your Sims will enjoy. And I hope that Max and Goldie, because I downloaded somebody had recreated and cast Max and Goldie from Bustin Out, which, thank goodness to those people that are good and create a sim. Like, that is really not my forte. I do make the Sims that I play with, but as far as like recreating characters and stuff, I'm not really good at all that like face modeling and like stuff like that. So really glad for those people that are good at it. But yeah, I downloaded them so I could play test it and make sure that everything worked. And so I hope this is a gym that they would be proud to have worked up to. But, you know, honestly, they were really unmemorable Sims in my opinion. Like, I played the Bustin' Out game, I don't even know how many times all the way through over the years when I was younger. And I do have a good memory of like a lot of the characters in the game, but those two, besides me remembering that I thought that they were married and that they were a couple and that they often hit on each other despite being siblings, like, you know, other than that, I don't really have that much of a memory of like their personalities or anything. I mean, obviously they were into fitness because they owned a gym, but other than that, I don't know, they were kind of forgetful. So sorry if they were like your favorite characters from that game, but I just really didn't even remember them. This shower room, one thing that I did notice when I was playtesting was the Sims seem to get embarrassed even though they're like the open showers from Discover University, and I thought that Sims weren't supposed to be able to get embarrassed when they were using these showers, which is why I put them just kind of all standing in a room. Like, I had originally tried to mess around and create like little stalls for them or like partitions, but that really just was not working. And so I was like, well, I'll just, you know, create just a shower room, like all open and everything. And with those showers, they're not supposed to be able to get embarrassed either. But when I was playtesting, like only one sim would be showering at a time, and then if another sim walked in to shower, then they would usually get embarrassed. So I don't know, like, I don't know why that's not working correctly, or if I just misunderstood that they're not supposed to get embarrassed, or I mean, I do have mods in my game, so maybe something's conflicting. Like I have Slice of Life and MC Command Center and Meaningful Stories in there, and I know that all of those mods like affect your Sims mood and like the emotional system and stuff. So maybe it's a mod conflict, or I don't know, maybe it's just a bug. So let me know if y'all are having that same issue, because that's really why I designed it that way. But whatever, I mean, I'm not gonna care that much. Like if townies get embarrassed, like it's whatever. And if I just don't want my sim to be embarrassed while at the gym, then I'll just, you know, cheat that away, and not a big deal, because that's just kind of ridiculous that it's like a locker room shower, like open situation, like they shouldn't be getting embarrassed. So anyway, I have finished up the inside and I'm just working on the outside. I tried to make that fountain thing work because I thought it was cool, and I like never use fountains, but I ended up deleting it in the end. I couldn't get it to work with what I was trying to do. I just left it really simple on the outside, and I tried to put some bushes around here on the edge, but it just looked like way too much, so I ended up just putting a sign over here. I have a hard time figuring out what to put on the outside of community lots, but I think it turned out okay. So we are about finished and on to the screenshots. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye!